Today's episode is brought to you by Mazars. SoundCartel. Many a business owner dreams of becoming multinational. Although Australia is a wealthy market, it's also relatively small on a global scale. So how can the smallest of businesses tap into massive overseas markets, and how can they avoid the potential pitfalls? From SoundCartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. The CEO of the Small Business Association of Australia, Anne Nalder, says her organisation can help many small businesses expand abroad. Although trade missions overseas are on hold due to COVID, technology is making it easier, as she explains to Jeff Waters.
We have been doing international trade missions for a number of years now, and of course this has been interrupted due to the pandemic. And a lot of supply chains and networks have been broken internationally, and so we're in the process of reconnecting. Now, one of the things that we believe is very, very important to a small business in Australia is the opportunity to trade internationally. And this can be either in the services sector, the making of goods, or produce. In the services sector, this is really exciting because it's the fastest growing industry, not only in Australia, but it's the fastest growing sector around the world. And that's, as I said, in the services sector. And it's great for small business owners because if they want to export their services, they don't need a lot of money, which is important. And so we've set up an international forum where we will meet and we will discuss a number of issues. Now, the purpose of the forum is threefold: to provide business-to-business opportunities for small business owners, to foster relationships both culturally and economically, and to share ideas. For example, what are other countries doing to help their small business owners? And that is truly exciting because we can also put ideas forward to our governments to see if we can do similar things, if they're a good, idea. So the forum is, I believe, very, very important. When we get out of the pandemic, and it won't last forever, we need to be prepared to trade and to do business. Now, for a small business owner, exporting, whether it's services, goods or produce, is important because they can get extra revenue. Now, if there's a downturn, say, in the domestic market, they could probably be propped up on the international market and vice versa. So it's a great way to increase and grow their small business. And this is important because when you grow your small business, you then tend to employ more, you contribute more to the economy in various ways. And I think that is very, very important, and it's necessary for any viable, strong economy. So small businesses can have great opportunities by connecting with us and to explore the opportunities that they can do in various countries. And there's a huge market out there. There's masses of people that want to buy Australian goods, produce, or even their services. So great opportunities.
So are you suggesting that, for instance, a small business that grows produce should be directly marketing their goods overseas?
They can be. They need to find out, obviously, there's a bit of a process involved. They need to obviously know their market, where they want to go. They need to be aware of, this is where we come in, because we've got the connections as well, because you need to have reliable people at the other end. You need to be able to have people that you can trust, if there are issues, for example. And the international market can be complex and it can be daunting if you don't know where to go and who to deal with. It can be also daunting on the domestic scene if you don't know certain things. So you can imagine it becomes much more so for an international market, but it's an exciting thing because it gets your product, produce or whatever out into an international market. And I think that can be a very, very good thing for the business owner. But you must know what you're doing and you need to be aware of the pitfalls, just like you need to be aware of it anywhere else.
As you said, it seems to be perfect for the service industry.
Yep.
Can you think of any examples of recent successes in this regard?
Yes, education, for example. Our last trade mission was to India in November 2019, and we have great connections. We went up to Jaipur, which is in northern India, and it's the most beautiful part of India as well, an exciting place. And we've got a great relationship with many of the universities there, and also have the equivalent of a TAFE up there as well. And so there's great opportunities for Australian educators, not necessarily in the university sector, but in the vocational guidance area. So yes, education's very, very important.
Mazars is an international audit, tax and advisory firm committed to helping clients confidently build and grow their businesses. To find out how Mazars can support your business, visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.
Can sole operators take advantage of this as well?
Oh, certainly. But I would recommend, now there's no right or wrong what I'm about to say, but this is something I would recommend. I think if a sole trader was to operate, I would like to see them become a company. Now, you can be a sole director, single director, but a company is viewed a little bit differently to a sole trader. A company is seen as being a bit, not necessarily bigger, but I think it's being seen as a different type of setup. There is, I think, a psychological thing in this area, and I would recommend that prior to embarking on the international scene, whether you're a sole trader now or whenever, you need to look at having a very, very good website, up to date. It doesn't have to be a huge website with masses of pages, but a very up-to-date, fantastic website. You need to have current information up there. I do believe you need to be a company in preference, and you need to have your business cards and flyers ready, things like that make an impression, because what happens with your website, the website is the window to your shop online. And so I know in my own case, when I get inquiries, the first thing I do is I look at websites, and a website will either raise a red flag or it looks okay and you proceed to the next level. If you're trying to do trade in the United States, for example, websites play a vital role, because there'll be certain things that'll wave a red flag to them as well. And if that's the case, you don't get past first base. So this notion that I don't need a website, that is wrong, because regardless of what overtakes and takes its place, a website still is required, because, as I said, it's the online shop to people looking at your particular business.
So if I'm a small business, I'm really interested in the idea of expanding my market globally.
Yeah.
What are the first steps I should take?
The first step would be, like in our case, contact us. We would take the information down, because we would need to know what that person is selling, the size of their business, what market are they looking for. We can also do the research, because you can't just go into a market, for example, hoping for the best. It doesn't always work like that. It's like, for example, and if I can give you one example, there are some people that have listed themselves on Amazon, for example, to sell online, and they think it's going to create a lot of business for them. But then you've got to do your research as to what are the best-selling products, for example, via Amazon. So the same will apply to a market. If you're selling a certain thing, is there a need for that particular product or whatever it is that you're trying to sell in that particular market? And we do all of that. The other thing is we also plan trade missions, but of course at the moment it's very uncertain and it's on hold at the moment. But we can do things online because of our connections, and that is overseas, because we deal with a number of countries, not just India.
That was Anne Nalder, CEO of the Small Business Association of Australia. This episode of Business Essentials Daily is produced by the team at SoundCartel. Thanks for listening. I'm Nicole Goodman. We'll bring you more Be Daily tomorrow. Follow @BE Daily Podcast across social media and head to bedaily.com.au for more from the Business Essentials Daily podcast. SoundCartel. This episode was brought to you by Mazars. To find out more, visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.